Hey, welcome back. This is Tuhon Aditya from LightHaven. Today we are going to be working on a Sinawali drill based in double knife in the Pakal Grip. The Sinawali pattern is quite a common pattern that you find across the Filipino martial arts. Now you've probably heard me say this before on this channel that I have a couple of general ways I like to coordinate my double weapons, and the Sinawali pattern is one of those ways. Whether you're going double stick, double knife, single knife or empty hands, in some way, in some context, you will constantly be seeing this same weaving Sinawali pattern. The reason in double knife or empty hands or single knife why you see this pattern a lot is because within the same pattern you can have a parrying motion, an entry motion and a finishing motion. With double knife, the choice is yours whether you want to go thrusting or whether you want to be slashing. In each one of these counts, you can choose whether you want to thrust or slash or thrust, and then depending on the context and depending what you want to do, you can alternate between edge or tip. We are specifically going to be working on the Sinawali pattern in double knife from the Pakal Grip for this video. Now it is important that you are relatively comfortable with this pattern, the basic 3 count heaven 6 pattern already, because if you aren't, then this is going to be a little bit more challenging for you, it's going to be a little bit more difficult for you, and there is a tendency or the possibility of picking up bad habits which will reflect not just in your double knife but also in your double stick. Also, the other thing that really helps is if you are very comfortable in just your basic diagonal lines, your angle 1, angle 2 diagonal lines, because one major mistake that I see people making, especially in double knife face Sinawali, is that, well, it's not necessarily a mistake, but it lessens the effectiveness of the movement, is that instead of using diagonal lines, they start using horizontal lines, which again is not a mistake, but it reduces the versatility and adaptability of this movement. We are going to start with just the basic version of this drill. Now I am going to start with whichever leg forward, it's really up to you. Generally whichever hand goes first, so if my right hand is going to go first, I like to have my right leg in front. If my left hand is going to go first, I like to have my left hand in front. This is my preference, but you could also flip it around. So I am going to keep my right leg in front, I am going to keep my weapons up in almost, if I didn't have knives, it will be sort of like a Muay Thai or a boxing basic guard, but my weapons are going to be up. Now just remember, regardless of any of the variation that we do today, it's going to be right hand, right hand, left. It's always going to be alternate. So if I start with my right hand, it's going to be followed by the left hand, which is going to be followed by my right hand, which will be followed by the left hand, right hand, left hand, right hand, left hand, right hand. So at any point, if you are confused about which hand comes next, the easy solution is what hand did I just use, and the other hand is going to go next. So I'm going to start in this basic guard position, and I'm going to fire an angle 1 thrust, a diagonal angle 1 thrust with my right hand from 1 o'clock. So 12 o'clock in front of my head, 6 o'clock in front of my groin. I'm going to go from 1 o'clock and go down. Now generally, if you've again heard me talk about my basic angle 1, angle 2 on this channel, I like to go from 1 all the way down to 7. That would be fine, except if I do that in this instant, I'm going to start tying up and getting stuck. My hands are going to start getting stuck. So I'm going to start with 1 o'clock, and now my other hand is already in position to begin its next movement. Now if I go 1 to 7, I'm going to be jamming my other hand that's going to start from under my armpit. What's important is that the first motion goes across, forehand across, my left hand is going to go backhand across, and then I'm going to come back with a thrust and then immediately begin left hand angle 1, right hand angle 2, left hand jab. For now we're going to use jab. If I do it from the side, angle 1, angle 2, jab, angle 1, angle 2, jab, angle 1, angle 2, jab. The reason I'm jabbing and not doing an angle 2 is because the jab allows a retraction which sets up or clears the path for the next attack. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. What's really important for the Sinawali pattern to happen is that my second, whatever is my second attack, is going to go from underneath my first. So it's not 1, 2, it's going underneath. And when we go into applications of this pattern, this need to go underneath becomes more and more apparent. When I apply this, it will be very hard for me to go from on top. I can still go from on top, but the timing in the application changes. So for this specific pattern, we're going to go from below. So I'm going to go angle 1, this comes from below, below my armpit, comes up and still hits here. One mistake people make is that if this is a high attack, then this becomes medium. No, I'm hitting this at 1 o'clock, my next attack is also going to be 1 o'clock, and then I'm going to jab at 11 o'clock, not 12 o'clock, 11 o'clock. Thrust at 11 o'clock, thrust at 11 o'clock, jab at 1 o'clock. This is my basic pattern upon which everything else I'm going to do today is going to be based. Now is when the exploration period of this drill comes in. I began this video by talking about the versatility of this pattern in knife, where I can be thrusting or I can be slashing. However, it takes a little bit of time to get comfortable with changing from a thrust to a slash, and also it takes a little bit of time and practice to figure out what is the best way of doing a slash in this grip at the target that we're trying to hit. So the drill is very simple. We're going to be taking each attack, so attack 1, attack 2, attack 3, and we're going to switch each attack from a thrust to a slash. So first we're going to go slash, thrust, thrust, then thrust, slash, thrust, then thrust, thrust, slash. So the first one looks like slash, thrust, thrust, slash, thrust, thrust, slash, thrust, thrust. Now we're going to go thrust, slash, thrust, thrust, slash, thrust, thrust, slash, thrust, thrust, slash, thrust, thrust, slash, thrust. And the last one is going to be thrust, thrust, slash. So thrust, thrust, slash, thrust, thrust, slash, thrust, thrust, slash, thrust, thrust, slash. If you guys want to see some applications to the double knife Sinawali, please let me know in the comments and I will make a video about it. If you are familiar with this grip, Pakal, and if you're familiar with this channel and all the things I've spoken about this grip, you will know that this, in my opinion, is a much better thrusting grip and is better for its hooking capabilities than its slashing capabilities. So while I can still be slashing with it, it is a better thrusting grip. And now, when we are adding in slashes to this specific drill, we are making sure that at least for now, you can apply this template to any Sinawali pattern with double knife, but at least for now, all three of our targets are high targets. And so I want to slash in a way that's going to be the most efficient for me to be able to attack that high target. Now this might not be the best way of working. For example, the last slash, it might be better to just be thrusting there instead of slashing, but we're trying to build an overall comfort with double knives, coordination, and we just don't have options. An example of this is when I am going thrust, thrust, thrust. My first thrust is a diagonal, 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 jab. This is a possibility for me to slash. I can slash diagonally from 1 to 7, followed by a thrust, followed by a jab. That is a possibility. However, a more efficient way of attacking that high target would be a horizontal slash. So horizontal slash, diagonal thrust, jab, horizontal slash, diagonal thrust, jab, horizontal, diagonal, jab. The oddness of adding slashes into this pattern becomes more apparent when I add the slashes into the second and the third count, because now my slashes are going to be like this with my palm facing up. The first slash with my palm facing down. Now my palm is going to be facing up. So I'm going to go thrust, slash. Now again, I could slash down like this, but that's a really awkward slash. So instead I'm going to go horizontal across with the slash. It's a diagonal thrust, horizontal slash, jab, diagonal thrust, horizontal slash, jab. And same with the last pattern. I'm going to go diagonal thrust, horizontal slash. Now the last slash, I'm not going to be able to go all the way across because I have to get the knife here. So it might just be a slash going from here straight out diagonally like this instead of going horizontally like this. But if you can go thrust, thrust, slash and still get it back underneath your armpit, that works as well. The first thing to keep in mind is tip slash edge alignment. Now if I am slashing horizontal, I want my edge to be facing the right way. If I am thrusting diagonal, I don't want my tip to be facing there, but my knife is moving here. I want everything in the correct structure pointing the correct way. So if I am thrusting diagonal, I want my tip to be facing the right way and not facing here, 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 or anywhere in between. The next thing is to remember that at least for right now, for this pattern, all my, at least in the thrusting pattern, all my first 2 thrusts are diagonal lines, and my third thrust for now can be a jab, but later can also be a diagonal line going across and then coming back under my armpit. At least the first 2 must be diagonal lines, the third can be again going back to the jab, but because they're diagonal lines, make sure that we're not going horizontal, diagonal, and later this is going to make a big difference in our application. The third thing to keep in mind is that at least again for this drill, you can change it up and apply the same formula to every other variations of knife-based Sinawali, but for this drill, all our 3 targets are high targets. So it's a high target, 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 high target. Make sure that all 3 of your targets are high, and I'm not going high, medium high or high, low, low. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked what you saw, if you learned from what you saw, please do like and share this video. Please do subscribe to the channel. If you have anything to add to the discussion, leave that in the comments down below. All of these things really do help out the school and the channel a lot. If you'd like to see the basic version of this drill, I'm going to leave the link somewhere over here or somewhere over here. Check that out to see the first or original version of how I learned this drill and where is a good place for you guys to begin. A huge thank you to all of our patrons. Thank you so much for your support. If you'd like to know more about our Patreon page and the exclusive content that we offer there, check out the link I'm going to leave in the description down below. Also, our online classes are up and running. Our residential program is up and running. To know more about them, check out the email address I'm going to leave in the link down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and see you in the next video.